Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys my Amorphage deck profile for May 2016. Built this deck today at Locals. I know a couple of you requested that I get to building this deck for you guys, so I thought I'd bring you guys the deck profile. It's a really cool deck. The concept is to basically shut down special summoning methods on your opponent's side of the field and just, like lock down their special summoning. So let's go ahead and jump right into the deck profile. I run 3 Amorphage Lechery. Basically, the effect of this card is while you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can activate spell cards or their effects except for Amorphage cards. And once per turn, during your standby, tribute 1 monster or destroy this card. So it's all back to the lockdown that I said this deck basically focuses on. And the monster effect is if this card is pendulum summon or flip face up, neither player can special summon monsters from your extra deck while this card is face up on the field, except for Amorphage monsters. So it's really easy to get this guy's effect off, and the lockdown effect from the pendulum zone really helps as well. And I also run 3 Amorphage Wrath. The scales for the Amorphage monsters are 3 and 5, so you're going to summon level 4 monsters, mostly with the pendulum summoning, which is why I want to run 3 of this guy. His effect is while you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can tribute monsters except for Amorphage monsters, and once per turn during your standby phase, tribute 1 monster or destroy this card. So the tribute effect is not too big of a deal. You can just special summon back the Amorphages that are pendulum summon possible. And the monster effect is if this card is pendulum summon or flip face up, neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck while this card is face up on the field except for Amorphage monsters. So the biggest problem you have with this deck is basically going up, against mirror matches where, it doesn't really lock down your opponent too much. And I also run 3 Amorphage Pride, the other level 4 pendulum monster. His effect in the pendulum scale is while you control an Amorphage monster, neither player takes any effect damage. Once per turn during your standby phase, tribute 1 monster or destroy this card. And the monster effect is if this card is pendulum summon or flip face up, neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck while this card is face up on the field except for Amorphage monsters. So they basically share the special summon effect from the extra deck monster effect. So very easy to get the level 4s out, like I stated. Their attack stats are pretty good as well, so you can hit some pretty hard numbers because this deck isn't really extra deck reliant unless you pendulum summon out the Amorphage monsters that you already used. And I also run 2 Amorphage Greed. Like running 2 of this guy, his pendulum effect is while you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can activate trap cards or their effects except for Amorphage cards. Once per turn during your standby, tribute 1 monster or destroy this card. And he basically shares the same effect as the other ones. I only like running 2 of this guy, though, basically because he's more of a defense stat Amorphage, compared to the other ones where they're more attack stat. So he's good defense on the pendulum, good card to sit on while you have his flip effect, like I said, locking down your opponent. Same goes for Amorphage Gluttony. Run 2 of this card. Might bump this up to 3. We'll get later on in the deck what I would replace for this. His effect in the pendulum scale is while you control an Amorphage monster, monsters you control cannot activate their effects except Amorphage monsters, and once per turn it's the same tribute effect or destroy this card. Once again, lockdown in the defense stat. Only 2 of this guy, basically because he is a level 2, can't special summon him back with the pendulum summon with the scales that you run in the deck, but the flip face effect really helps just because, if something's rammed into him, he's flip face up and then the effect kicks in. Same goes for Amorphage Envy. I run 2 of this card. His pendulum effect is while you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can activate cards or effects as chain link 2 or higher, and once per turn during your standby phase, tribute 1 monster or destroy this card. So the chain link 2 is pretty cool. The reason I might keep Gluttony at 2 and bump him up to 3 is basically because of his level 4 ability, and the chain link 2 stat also helps in some chain situations, and he shares the same monster effect. And I also run 1 Amorphage Sloth. These are the big monsters, Sloth and Goliath. 1 Sloth might bump Goliath down to 1 and Sloth to 2. Possibly, depends on how the playstyle goes. His monster effect is neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Amorphage monsters, so he doesn't have to be flipped face up or anything like that. That would be kind of a big requirement, to tribute him, flip him up. So I like that they did it that way. And his pendulum effect is while you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them once per turn during your standby phase, tribute one monster, or destroy this card. So the draw effect is really good, stops maxi plays, not maxi plays because you draw them obviously, but search effects, lockdown, really good card. And finally, 2 Goliath, the big monster of the deck, 2,750 attack points. And his effect is the same, that neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Amorphage monsters. And while you control an Amorphage monster, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, except for Amorphage cards. And once per turn, he shares the same destruction effect. So, hard to get over. Locking down your extra deck for your opponent can be a big, big play. Xyz summons are really big. I think the only thing that this deck would have a problem with would be Monarchs, who aren't, extra deck reliant at all, being able to hit over. But, the matchups will be made later on. And finally, to wrap it up, I run 1 Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. I like this card for the tribute effect, just to stack up the Amorphages in your extra deck and summon out multiple ones that you search. And also I run 1 Armor Factor Pain, the Imagination Draco Overlord. It's the ritual monster that also restricts basically special summoning. You can ritual summon this card with Amorphage Persona, which is the field spell card. If this card is ritual summoned, your opponent skips their next main phase 1, negate the effects of face-up fusion, synchro, and exceed monsters while they are on the field. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Draco Overlord from your deck to your hand. So 2950, this might be the big hitter over for the Monarch cards if you can get him out. I mean, Monarchs restrict special summoning from the extra deck as well, so if you can get him out, you'll be, set to hit over anything. And that is it for the monsters. We'll move on to spells. I run 3 Amorphage Infections. Wasn't able to pick up any infections at locals today, so proxying the 1, and the printer was low on toner. Otherwise, I would have brought you guys better proxies and multiple ones as well. But the effect of Infection is all Amorphage monsters on the field gain 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. If a monster in your hand or you control is tributed up to twice per turn, you can add 1, or not up to twice per turn, that's the other card. You can from your deck to add 1 Amorphage card from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Amorphage Infection once per turn. So the continuous effect is good. It adds the search power that you need for the deck. You tribute plenty of times in the deck as well with the Pendulum Scales effect, so you're going to get this card off plenty. And I also run 2 Amorphous Persona. It is the field spell. All Amorphage monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense up to twice per turn. If an Amorphage monster you control is tributed, draw 1 card. You can banish this card from your graveyard to tribute pendulum monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal exactly 8. Then ritual summon 1 Armor Factor Pain, the Imagination Draco Overlord, from your hand. So the easiest way to get off the ritual monster, probably the only way as well. Only run 2 of this card because I also like to run 1 Terraforming to go with the deck. And I also run 3 Draco Connections, just got to find where I place my playset. The toner ink was going well until, after I made more of these cards. But you reveal 1 Dragon type in your hand, add 1 Dragon type monster with the same level from your deck to your hand, then shuffle the revealed monster into the deck. So it's search, basically. And I also run 1 Dark Hole and 1 Regeki for monster clearing. And also for traps, I run 2 Amorphage Lysis. All monsters on the field except Amorphage monsters gain 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. If a card used in your Pendulum Zone is destroyed, except during the damage step, you can place 1 Amorphage Pendulum monster from your deck in your Pendulum Zone. You can only use the effect of Lysis once per turn. Only have 2 of this. Would like to bump it up to 3. I'll show later on what I would replace for the 3rd one. Also, 2 Pendulum Reborns just helps with special summoning monsters back from my graveyard if, the Amorphages are sent there by any means. Good card to use, or to special summon from the extra deck as well. Also trying out 3 Gozen Match just for backup at the moment. If I ever bump up the numbers, like let's say I bump up Envy or Greed or Gluttony to 3, these will definitely come out, and also I would replace 1 for the 3rd Lysis as well. But it's good because they all share the same attributes, so good to sit on. The only weakness is Twin Twisters, obviously. And one Bottomless and one Solemn Warning. The Bottomless would come out if I had Strike and was able to play it in the deck. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.